Yes, yes. John Riley, what's up? How are you, brother?
I'm very good. Great to see you, Edu.
Oh, great to see you too. Thank you for coming here, and please, everybody that being here, clap your hands for this incredible drummer, incredible teacher, and incredible writer. He wrote the most important books that I noticed about jazz. I love this one. I love this one too. And his career as a musician is amazing too. He played with a lot of musicians. Please welcome to John Riley. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Edu. I could be saying that all the same things about you.
Oh man.
It's
Oh
true.
man. Oh, thanks. And um, I prepared to start today with one playback that I practice a lot about your books. Is that okay for you if I play
Sure,
that?
sure.
And you can correct me after that. Just tell me what is wrong.
I'm looking forward to hearing this.
Oh man, I will play. I'm a little nervous, little shame, but I'm doing that.
Me too.
Just just tell me if the volume is okay.
Hmm.
thank you for this amazing backing track that I have from this book, man. It helps me a lot, and I'm sure that it helps a lot of drummers around the world uh, uh, to understand that language, that incredible language, and to understand how to play better this intention to play jazz. That is so hard for us that are non-American, non-U.S. Born. Sorry about my bad English, but you understand what I'm saying.
Well, you have it, whether you had the book or not. You have the feeling of the music, and it sounds really good.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
and I think I wrote the book because there were so many good books out there that just had notes in them, but they had no words to explain how to think about the notes. So I think that the people like the text that I wrote with the explanations about why you do certain things, and then in combination, of course, with listening to the records, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, man. That list that you give us about the records and talking about the different ways and talking about the style of different drummers,
Hmm.
and that is amazing. That was so helpful to me. Serious, I'm so thankful to you to to do that. Opened my mind to listen a bunch of different drummers that I didn't know before that. And
Oh well, thank you for being serious and digging in and being curious. That's the first thing, right? We have to
yeah,
be curious.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's good for everyone. And
yeah.
man, let me start doing. I prepared some questions about your life, and we're gonna have a lot of different ones from people from the chat. But I noticed that you start very early at 8, and you tell there that you just have a snare drum and start with the rudimentals first, and after that you start to play with the whole drum set.
Hmm.
And I did one interview as that's one and next another episode with Jeff Hamilton, and he said the same. He started just with the drums, with the rudimental things, and after that, he he take the whole drum set. And what do you think is special for the drummer? Start with this because here we don't have that tradition to start just with the snare drum, and after that, we sometimes we think we feel that they put the drummer from the drum set and start to play everything together. It's so hard to do that. What do you think? What do you feel about that?
Well, I think, in history, before there was a drum set, there was a snare drum in the military bands or in the orchestra. So the drum set is, a contraption, but the snare drum was the first instrument. And so I think getting control of the snare drum first just assists with learning everything else. When you listen to Buddy Rich, he was a snare drummer and he played the drum set. When you listen to Philly Joe, he's a snare drummer and he played the drum set. And so, like Jeff, um, when I was like from age 14 to 18, I played in a marching band in addition to playing in rock bands. Um, so this sort of tradition of, well, two things. One is feeling the time in your feet,
Mm-hmm.
like you do in Brazil
Yeah.
in carnival time. So making sure you feel the time in your feet and then build everything up from there. Um, that's the way I started. But really, I didn't start. I started with a snare drum, but not with the rudiments. I started with a snare drum with a radio, and I played with a radio.
Wow.
And then eventually I had a teacher who taught me how to read and taught me about the rudiments. And I didn't care about that so much. I wanted to learn like to play like Ringo or to play like John Bonham. And
Yeah.
my teacher had a certain way of doing things where he was very serious. I had to learn these rudiments. I had to learn these reading things, and I would bring in a 45 RPM record to each lesson, and if I played my lesson good, then he would listen to the record, and I would ask him, now what is the drummer doing here? And he would show me the rock beat that Dino Danelli was playing with the Rascals, or a fill that Ringo played. And so it was a good arrangement. I did what he wanted, and he gave me what I wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very good arrangement. That's
Yeah,
very good. And uh, when you thought about Ringo and John Bonham, I can imagine that you start with the rock and roll, and
yeah.
when you went to university in north of Texas, um, you have some idea that you want to have with what you want to do with the music in these times. You have the idea that you are going to the jazz side, or you want to be stay on the rock side. What is your idea when you went to university about music?
Well, before I went to the university, I had a good chance to study with Joe Morello.
Hmm.
And I didn't know that much about jazz. And actually, his lessons weren't so much about jazz, they were about technique and sound.
Yeah.
And how actually he was really focusing on how to play the snare drum. But at the same time, I was listening to Gene Krupa and to Buddy Rich and a little bit to Max Roach. But and my father didn't want me to be a musician. So I had to kind of fight with him to let me go to music school. He wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer or a businessman.
Yeah.
Um, but so I went to music school, and his idea was if you're going to music school, you have to be a classical music student. And because he said, if you're unsuccessful as a classical music student, at least that degree will have more value than a jazz degree, which is totally wrong. But he was trying to be a good father, and he didn't know that a music degree has very little value to anyone outside of music. But when I got to school, there were a lot of drummers. There were 150 drummers in Texas when I went to that school,
Wow.
and 2,000 music majors. So it was a very big school.
Hmm.
And I was a good reader. I was a good snare drum player, but I wasn't so good in a band. I didn't know much about playing in bands. And I hadn't heard Elvin Jones. I hadn't heard Tony Williams. I hadn't heard Grady Tate or so many drummers. I heard a little bit of Billy Cobham.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a funny story. At one point, I ended up taking 2 lessons from Billy Cobham when I was 16 years old, just before the Mahavishnu Orchestra record came out. And he he taught in this little music store in New Jersey, and he just had 2 Remo practice pads. And we played on the practice pads, and he was a very strict teacher. And after 2 lessons, he scared me, and I never went back because he was so serious. He said, take a glass of water and fill it to the very top and play your rudiments on there and try not to spill the water out.
Wow.
This was pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
But I didn't know who he was. And then maybe a year later, I got that first Mahavishnu record, Inner Mounting Flame. And I saw this picture of this man with these little round glasses on. And I thought, that's the guy I took 2 lessons from, and said, no, thank you.
That's the man.
And then I went to Joe Morello, and he was a very strict teacher, but somehow it felt like the kind of thing that I was looking for.
Hmm.
Then when I went to college, all the other drummers knew more about jazz than I did. And I was getting curious about it because it seemed like in jazz music, the drummer had more liberty and more ability to influence the course of the music
Mm-hmm.
than in a rock band.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that's true, but that was my
Yeah.
feeling. That was my feeling.
Yeah.
And I started to practice some jazz stuff, and it was more intriguing to me because it was a little bit less repetitive
Yes.
than what Ringo played.
Yes.
And
Yes.
eventually, as I said, when I got there, there were 150 drummers there, and I was probably number 149. But I every day I went to the rehearsal that the number one drummer played, and I sat and watched him play and listened to how he reacted to the music and to the other musicians. And I worked hard and tried to figure out what this was all about. And, eventually had some success.
Yeah. A lot of success.
Well, I had some success there, and then that helped me. Um, what my thinking was, well, okay, I'm in this environment, in this school, and which ensemble is the one that plays the hardest music? Which ensemble is the one that gets the most exposure outside of campus? And
Yeah.
so I made my goal to try and, I was looking at it like a job. I want to get that job because if
Yes.
I can mold myself to be successful for that job, then the discipline I have and some of the skills I have will help me move over for the next challenge.
Man, that is amazing. That thinking about your goal and make some steps to do that. That is amazing.
Well, but it was really coming from, man, I was so curious about music. Music was tickling my ear and tickling my brain, and I wanted to to understand how that happened and to have the possibility of maybe sharing in that with other people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Great history.
Oh, thank you. You said something at the very beginning. You said I prepared some questions. Some years ago, I was Modern Drummer magazine asked me to interview Elvin Jones. So I
Wow.
went to his apartment, I went to his house, and he opened the door, and he was in his pajamas and with the shirt open. It was so relaxed. And we sat at the table, and he put a bottle of wine right on the table, right in front of us. And he said, "You want to have a glass of wine?" I said, "Well, maybe after the interview." And then I said, I've prepared some questions, like you said to me.
Uh-huh.
And he said, "Oh, I wish I had prepared some answers."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry for that. I don't have more my questions.
That's okay. No,
And
please, please.
yeah, and just you talked about Elvin, and I saw Hus Gleason here, and I remember, hey Hus, how are you? Thank you for being here. And
Oh, great.
I saw your drum hang from drum hangs in UK, and you were talking a lot about Elvin, and I remember that you talked about the sound of the triplets that he does like and he changed that and he changed the like stretching or not stretching. Uh, could you show us a little about that here? Just how was that? Because I don't remember. I think something like that. And you do that in the different tempos. It's something like that.
Exactly. Yeah, there's sort of three or four levels of speed that you can do that. So if we just take, let's say, right, left foot,
Mm-hmm.
right, that rhythm, if if this is the quarter note,
Okay.
then we can play it at the eighth note level. level. We can play at the 16th note level, right? This level. Then we can play it at the rate of 9/2.
Wow.
So we have 1, 2, 1, 2. First, we think of triplets. Right? And then if you orchestrate that and you take the hi-hat away, it sounds like it's not connected to the pulse.
Yeah.
Right? If you play it in a simple pattern like, then you definitely hear the pulse. But if you change the orchestration, sometimes right left foot, sometimes left right foot, or the other thing that was interesting with Elvin, when he got a bigger drum set, his bass drum was tuned higher than his floor tom. So when you listen to the melody, it can be confusing, like what voice is playing.
Yeah.
Right? And then if we take like 2 or 3 of those rates, like triplets, 16ths, and 9, and mix them up within 4 measures, it can sound pretty crazy. So if we're here, right? Now the hi-hat is the policeman.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't say that this works in every situation. Yeah. Nothing works in every situation except this. Right? That works in every situation.
Yes.
But this is camouflaging that in a way.
Man, that's is amazing. And when start this 9 fills or this triplet fills, that is so hard to understand where is the tempo.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds good.
Oh,
now then, sometimes he takes that 9 fill, check this out, and instead of playing kind of circular, so you really hear, sometimes his right hand plays a 5-note voice, like, but at the rate of the 9. So it really feels free.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very sophisticated. And it can sound, it does sound super organic.
Yeah.
But I think that there was some thought, definitely some thought behind it. Because it's very sophisticated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then with the triplets and time playing, you did this very nicely when you played with that song. I think about, so we have this one, and we have this one, and then you can invert that one. Or sometimes he plays, and a lot of times he makes a loop of 3-beat pattern. Like maybe he'll play this 2 times, and this 1 time. So you get this. Right? Simple 4-bar phrase. Or there's a phrase that I like that he plays, which is a 2-measure phrase like this. and then he takes a little piece of it, a little 3-beat piece of it, and loops that. And he'll make an 8-measure phrase like this.
Wow. Wow, man, that's very good.
Yeah, so the little piece.
And here,
No, the cymbal is playing. Yeah,
I will try that after.
me too.
I will try that after. Oh man, thank you.
There's a great record that of Elvin that many drummers have stolen licks from. It's by the tenor saxophone player named Yusef Lateef,
You said
and
that
the record is called Into Something,
into something.
and there's a song on there called Water Pistol,
Water pistol.
and they trade eights on there, and he does a lot of this stuff that drummers were drawn to like a magnet. Oh, I want that. And you can hear it really clear on that record, the comping, but also the soloing. I think because there's no keyboard, there's no guitar, so the drums are easier to hear.
Yeah, I will check it. I'm so sorry. I don't know this record, but I will check it right after that.
Yeah, check out that one song, and you can find it on iTunes, I'm sure.
Yeah, I will check that. There is a recording from him that I love it. That is Unity from Larry Young with Joy Henderson and Wood Shaw. I love this record, man.
Yeah, well, one of the solos I transcribed in Beyond Bop Drumming,
Yeah,
and that's a really crazy solo.
and man, you transcribe a very crazy solos on the Beyond of Bob drumming? For me, it is a kind of impossible solos. There is a Tony Williams solo that I said that is impossible to transcribe to understand. Man,
Well, I did this a long time ago,
so
and
bad.
and I had a cassette recorder, a little Sony Walkman cassette recorder that had a dial on it where you could slow down the speed.
Yeah,
And so I would use that to transcribe this stuff.
man. Thanks for that.
Oh man,
That's amazing.
yeah, thank you.
Hey John,
Yeah,
and and you went to New York in '76 and to Rudy Herman band, and
a little later in '78, I went to Woody Herman's band. I replaced Jeff Hamilton.
you replaced Jeff Hammond there.
Mhm.
And after that, you say that in your website says that you stay there as a freelancer jazz drummer. And I have a question about I think every drummer in the world that likes jazz wants to know how feels be a freelancer jazz drummer in New York, playing with these different stars of jazz at these times. And how was that experience for you?
Well, I'm so happy that I had the chance to work with the older musicians, but it was slow. The process was slow of getting a reputation, of being somehow known as someone competent. At first, I was playing with a band on the street, and we had the trumpet case out, and people would put money in the trumpet case.
No
And,
kidding.
yeah, and
Yeah,
So it was a quintet, and we were rehearsing original music. And we said, okay, let's go out on the street. Maybe we can rehearse there. When we played the original music, no one gave any money. But when we played St. Thomas, or when the Saints Go Marching In, or A Train, then they would give money.
Yeah.
So that was a learning experience that people relate to different kinds of music.
Yeah.
And one of the things that helped me in New York when I first got there was all the experience I had when I was in Texas, especially reading charts and playing in a big band.
Yes.
Because there were a lot of writers in New York that had what they called rehearsal bands. They were bands that would get together so that the writer could hear his music.
Yes.
And there was no idea really of recording the music or of playing a gig, but it was a good opportunity for good musicians to play new music all the time.
Yeah.
And the situation was that there was no money, and the places where they rehearsed never had drums. So they couldn't get a good drummer to do this stuff. But I was a new drummer, and I was hungry, and I was willing to carry my drums on the subway and go down and do these rehearsals. And at the rehearsals, I always met musicians that were older and more established. Anthony Jackson, Randy Brecker, all of these kinds of guys that were doing a lot of commercial stuff in the recording studio were always looking for more creative music to do on the side when they were free.
Yeah.
So they would play in these rehearsal bands, and so I would get to meet them because I was willing to carry my drums to the rehearsal, and because I could do a pretty good job. And so some doors opened for me a little faster, maybe because of the experience I had in Texas and the reading stuff that I had done. Um, but it was slow. I played a lot of weddings to pay my bills.
Yeah, and I think that is a great part of being a musician. Makes you more strong and makes you give more value to the things that you conquist after that.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, absolutely.
is important.
Yeah. When you get to play something that feels personal, then you really want to be involved in it, even if there's no money,
Yeah,
because we do so many things just when the boss says, uh, merengue, you start,
yeah,
um, for the dancers, you know.
yeah, yeah. And uh, I know that you play with a lot of musicians with Stan Getz and Greg Peacock that just passed away a few days ago, and Mick Jackson, and how about Miles Davis? Did you play? Have you played with him?
I had a very interesting experience playing with Miles. Miles was, well, Quincy Jones was the musical director of the Montreux Jazz Festival for many years. And he was inviting Miles Davis every year to come and do this festival. And he wanted him to play some of the old music,
Yeah.
Birth of the Cool and Sketches of Spain and that music. And Miles always said no. And then one year, I think it was 1990 or 91, Miles agreed to do this.
Okay.
And the owner of the Montreux Jazz Festival is a Swiss guy named Claude Knobs. And he hired a Swiss piano player that I was working with named George Gruntz to put a band together to play this music with Miles.
Great.
The problem was Gil Evans' wife had all the music.
Yes.
And she said, I'm not going to give you the music unless you hire the Gil Evans musicians to play the concert.
Wow.
And so Quincy thought, well, okay, maybe this is the only way we can make it better than the original. if we have two men on every instrument. And now the drummer, crazy idea. The drummer in the Gil Evans band was Kenwood Denard, who's a
Wow.
very, very good drummer.
Yeah.
And so Kenwood and I got to Switzerland to rehearse this music. And there's 40, 50 musicians, and there's TV cameras and all of this stuff, and no Miles. But Quincy is there, and it turns out I had my drums and cymbals and everything set up. And it turns out that Quincy didn't know me, and he didn't know Kenwood. So he brought Grady Tate over to play drums.
Wow.
Now, I had worked with Grady Tate. He worked as a singer a lot, and he hired me to play with him as a singer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, oh, very good singer. And he did many, many commercials on television, like for beer commercials. He had a beautiful baritone voice.
Wow. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah, I did a bunch of gigs with him in prisons, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's been so interesting.
Yeah. So Grady is there, and he sees me, and he says, "Man, why did they hire me, Grady Tate? You should play drums on this." And he said a very funny thing. He said, "I'm 59 years old. I want to sell my drums and just be a singer, but I'm nervous now. I'm running into Miles Davis. I never worked with him. I have to work with Miles Davis, and I'm really nervous."
Wow.
So we rehearse for 2 or 3 days, and Miles, we know he's in the hotel, but he doesn't come to the rehearsal.
Yes.
Then the last night before the concert, we finish the rehearsal, and Miles walks in the room with this amazing leather suit with all these little things dangling off of it and big sunglasses. And there's all these people in the room and the television people. And Miles walks right past Quincy Jones and directly to Grady Tate.
Yeah.
And I'm standing with Grady in this moment. And Miles gives Grady Tate a big hug and says, "You'll have to excuse my English." He says, "Well, Kluk left me and he left you here, you swinging MF." And this big smile came on Grady's face. And it was like Miles knew who the most important person in the room was. That was the drummer. And I'm going to make him comfortable.
Wow.
And it was a magical thing to see.
Yeah.
So what happened was Grady played drums. He played my drums, my cymbals, and Kenwood and I played the percussion parts that Elvin and Buster Bailey, who was in the New York Philharmonic, they played the percussion parts on the original Sketches of Spain records. And so, I didn't play drums with Miles, but I played percussion on this event, and it was really fantastic to be part of.
Man, that's a great history. That's great, great, great.
And then it turns out, I think Miles passed away 3 or 4 months later. So maybe he knew the end was near, and that's why he was able to look back this time when other times he wouldn't look back.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, great history. Thank you for telling us.
Oh,
Hey,
sure.
hey, John, I think it's a good idea. Just take a look in the comments and talk with people here. Just I'm reading a little bit now.
Yeah.
Jurandir Fagundes just says, "Hey, everybody watching from Santa Catarina. Santa Catarina is my hometown. Thank you, Jurandir. SLV, boa tarde. Thank you from Montes Claros. People from Brazil are seeing you a lot here.
Oh, nice.
Huskinson from UK, Marcelo Bucate. Do you know him? Marcelo Bucate is a great drummer from Brazil. And
I think I met him. Yeah.
he's living in Los Angeles now.
Oh, great.
Roberto Magalhães, abraço. Jurandir de novo. Austin Jerkins, amazing. Thank you, Austin. Piano Man, thank you, Jurandir. Oh, a lot of people here. Oh, great, man. Austin, Russ Glasson. This is back in Jack from Joe's books. I'm a little late with the comments. Thank you, Zap in the studio. Thank you, Richie. Oh, thank you, Richie. Piano Man, thanks. Let me see if there is any question for you. Uh, Diego Pereira said, "Hi Edu, hi John. I have a dream. Graduating master program in USA. Are you teaching in Manhattan? Love your books. Thank you for all."
Hey, Diego, thanks for the question. I am teaching at the Manhattan School of Music. Um, I think this school is a little bit famous and has a kind of a good reputation, definitely has a good reputation. It's much smaller than most people think. So there are about 100 jazz students there and usually about 15 drummers. So the program is pretty small, but really intense, and everybody that's there can play strong. So that's the advantage of being in a small a school like that. And I'm inspired by my students uh, all the time. So I hope you check it out.
That's very good. I'm not sure, but I think Rogério Bocato, that is a Brazilian drummer and percussionist, is teaching in Manhattan too.
He
He's
is, and he's a great teacher.
Oh, he's a great teacher. We are so close friends. From he used to study at the same university in Unicamp.
Yeah, he told me
And
that. Yeah.
yeah, and after that I moved to São Paulo, and he moved from here too, but he jumped to New York, and I'm just seeing with a lot of I'm proud about him because he's doing a very good job, man. He's a great musician.
Yeah,
He
he was
moved
a
his family. That's a lovely family to New York, and that's amazing.
I know his daughter, and
Yeah,
she's a good
Vini.
singer. Yeah, he was a
Yeah,
student of mine also when he moved to New York.
he told me at Sunny.
Yeah, at the State University of New York. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
but I don't know if he needed a teacher. He was already a complete musician.
but he told me that about that time that he did his master with you, and he told me that was so special for him, so important to him
Oh, nice.
to
We're good
learn.
friends.
Oh man, that's very good.
Yeah.
And Jurandir Fagan says, "Valeu, valeu, getting from Canada, foreign floor." Vinicius Barros, a very good percussion player that is going to jump with us someday to actually Rogério is going to come here too, and
I
he
know
says
Vinny.
hello.
Yeah, good musician.
Oh, Vin is here saying
Yeah.
hello, guys. Luis Cornel, Newton Wesley, man, all the drummers from Brazil is here to say hello to you. Newton is an amazing drummer too. He plays at Orquestra Sinfônica. It's a symphony orchestra with a big band that
Wow.
with arrangements between making some some crossfade between classical music and jazz, and that's he's amazing. Caio Afiuni, there's a lot of people here. John, let me see if there's a new question. Any advice of developing freedom when playing bursts? Once I've got a few basic patterns down, e.g., the ones that are top drumming, rudiments, comping patterns. Could you read that?
Yeah. He should have asked Jeff Hamilton this question.
but but you can have your
Yeah. Um, well, I think of each hand having a different role. I think of the right hand as like the tip of the stick on the cymbal, so it gives the points in the time. And the left hand is like the sustain, the ring of the cymbal, so it connects those points.
yeah.
And I play the basic pattern that everyone plays. And then I think about giving it more energy. and maybe I give it more energy by having a little acceleration in the left hand in the most common place that we comp with the sticks. So with sticks, I'm going to comp here. Like the end of 1 and the end of 3 is the most lifting place to comp. So if I'm here, it's kind of that kind of effect. Now, in terms of fills, I would say I really have only 2 fills. And one of the challenges with playing fills is starting it from the cymbal pattern and then getting back to the cymbal pattern. So the 2 fills I play the most, this was in triplets, and it's right, right, left, right, right, left, like that. And the reason that one works is because it comes very simply back to the cymbal beat. And the other one is 16th notes, double strokes, but like Steve Gadd double strokes, starting with a single, like Gadd plays. So I'll play. And then you can combine those 2. So that's very, very simple, right?
Very, and very
good. They work. I'll just say they work. Then one other thing I'm thinking about is that even though I turned the snares on there, I usually play with the snares off.
Okay.
Because I want as much contrast from the sticks as possible. And another thing is that when we play time, because the left hand is on the drum,
yes,
we're sort of muting the right. And so I don't want to have all those overtones when I play a fill. Yeah. So that's why I'm playing kind of into the head when I play the fill.
Yeah.
If I play, it's like suddenly a window opened and cold air is coming in because of all those bright overtones.
Yeah.
I think you have the same philosophy, right, Edu?
Yeah. And I just want to try this fuse that you played.
Sure.
No, it's something like that. And I love to mute that every time too.
Yeah.
Especially to play kind of Brazilian grooves that could sound like that. I love to mute more. Instead to play that. And
yeah. I do this. Go ahead.
To make different with the sounds, the overtones and no overtones.
Yeah, I do the same thing with that it's not really the right name, but people call this rhythm the Steve Gadd Mozambique,
Huh.
right? Where you have this rhythm in the right hand, and the left hand plays the other notes. So you can play it kind of open like that, but you can also play it or this kind of thing.
Man, that's amazing. It's reminds me the way that we try to play very fast samba. That way that you did, because sometimes when we so fast, we try to imitate the tambourine with right hand,
Yeah.
and just try to move a little with left hand, going like kind of linear stuff like that. And where's the pattern from Mozambique?
No, no, no.
No. Great.
Yeah, and what I'm doing with my left hand is, so it's playing the spaces, but it does this.
Wow, that's amazing. That moment. I forgot the pattern.
That's okay.
And John, can I do can I ask can I do a question?
Sure.
When you are playing a kind of jazz pattern, and you have the 1 and 3, A of 1 and 3, and you do that, or 1, 2, 3, and when you have to do that on the A of 2 or 4, you did that. You do that way.
I don't know. I think you can do it with either hand because the right hand is. It can work either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've got a question for you.
Oh, please.
Do you know the Chick Corea record "Light as a Feather"?
Yeah.
What is Airto playing on your everything?
But your everything.
It sounds like I don't know. It's some.
Yeah.
It's,
I really don't know. We have to ask to Aito. We have to bring Aito here and ask him. But I remember that when I heard that the first time, that sound of burst from Aito makes me crazy, because it's so tight, it's so on the tempo. I'm quite sure that's not that. I never tried to transcribe that, and I remember that he was playing so fast with a kind of flat high cymbal. The sound is so clear.
yeah, yeah.
The tip is so clear, and the bass drum is so soft. And I never met Ayrton. And now, in these times of pandemic, he asked me to do a show with him as a drummer, and he doing percussion with Flora, and was in May. And
Uh-huh.
I was so happy to play with Ayrton. Will be my first time. I have 2 days of questions, 2 days of histories to know. And with this pandemic times, the show was canceled, and I didn't meet him yet, but I'm waiting for this time because
Mm.
for me, in this time from the changing of the bossa nova and the drummers in Brazil starting to be kind of take more part of the music. Ayrton was the great guy that could improvise and improvise at the chorus, and you can hear. I don't know if you know A Vontade Mesmo from Raul de Souza.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah, yeah.
the Aito playing that in that time. It sounds so melodic. His sound is so melodic, and the trios with Cesar Mariano and Hermeto. He's amazing.
You know that big band record he made with Hermeto, with Ron Carter and Thad Jones and all of those guys.
Yeah, I heard about that, but I don't know. I have I don't know that he did
Oh
a
man,
recording with.
he sounds incredible. And he's playing that flat ride cymbal that Chick gave him,
Yeah,
the same one. But I think there's two tunes on there that you need to check out. One is called Pliers, like this tool that you use to grab things, and the other one is called Yogurt.
yogurt.
And he plays some of the craziest drum fills ever, but sounds really great.
Man, I'm waiting to the time to meet him. Man. I'm waiting to that, and he's great. He's living here. He's living in Curitiba in the south.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he and Flora they are living here for now.
And
And
and then there's Dom Romeo.
I'm sorry,
Dom Romeo. You know this drummer?
Dom Romão. Yes,
Yeah,
Dom
yeah.
Romão. Yeah,
The way he plays on that Cannonball record called Cannonball's Bossa Nova,
yeah, yeah,
with a stick and a brush, and ridiculous.
yeah. With a stick and a brush that like that.
But it's like super
That's
fast, and he'll play, yeah, the thing you were playing,
uh,
yeah, but it's
yeah. He used a lot that kind of
yeah, yeah.
that. That was a very good time.
Mm.
Dom Romão, Ayrton, and Edson Machado. Have you heard about Edson?
He reminds me a little bit of Roy Haynes.
Yeah, the sound and a little bit Elvin Jones too.
Hmm,
It's,
hmm.
it's a special time,
Oh
and
yeah.
and and you talk about the height of the height that Chicoria gives to Ayrton, and there is Chick did one video talking about this flat high that he gave for everyone to play, and I heard that you have a symbol from Mel Lewis in your.
I have all of Mel Lewis's symbols, but I also have a symbol just like Aertos, just like Chick Corea from the same vintage. I
Yeah,
first heard it on Roy playing it on Now He Sings, Now He Sobs, a Chick Corea record,
yeah.
and I found someone who had one of these symbols, and I chased him until he would sell it to me.
Wow.
I can grab it if you want, or if you want to see some of Mel's symbols.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Yeah,
If
okay.
if it's not a problem,
It's over in the corner. I just have to disconnect my headphones. 1 second.
no problem, no problem. I'm 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 still reading the comments here. Juan Magna, my friend from Argentina, and now I don't know where are you living, my brother. John, what do you think about the current near sand? That's a good question for him. Hmm.
So these cymbals are like two opposites. This one, an
Wow.
18-inch Paiste 602 flat ride from the
Wow.
late 60s. It was a little too dry for me, so I put two rivets in it.
Okay.
But you can hear this sound.
Yeah.
Right?
Great.
And then this is a famous cymbal that Mel Lewis would play all those shuffle rhythms on. It's a
Wow.
22-inch, they call it a swish knocker.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a pretty loud cymbal.
Yeah.
Uh,
Too warm, man.
and he would play it, playing a shuffle. Let me get this cymbal off of here.
Oh.
Kind of like this.
Wow, that's amazing, man. That is so.
It's
Watch
big. Yeah, it's a
uh,
big sound.
that there's a saxophone player here, Proveta. He's the leader from Mantiqueira band, and he always says that when you play some cymbal like that, he makes him play anything. He has all the chords that he needs to play anything when you start with a cymbal like that.
Well, it creates a cushion to the sound. I was playing it one time at the Vanguard, and someone who wasn't a musician was listening to the band, and they said, "Hey, it sounds like everybody's going ah. What is that?"
Everybody comes in. Is that feeling? Is that feeling?
Yeah,
Oh,
and if it can make the musicians feel comfortable,
yeah,
I'm going to use it.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
man, just tell us how long are you playing at the Vanguard every Monday?
Well, I'm embarrassed to say that I'm playing there longer than Mel Lewis.
Yeah, I know that you told that.
Yeah, so I think, I don't know, 28 years or something like that.
28 every Monday.
And every Monday, but not since March.
Okay.
Yeah. But, and you would think, oh man, the same gig with the same musicians every week for 28 years, you must be so bored. But there's so much music, a range of music in the library. We have 300 arrangements,
Wow.
and the soloists are so different that finding the right way to accompany a soloist is always fun and a challenge. So it never feels boring to me.
Wow.
Even every time I play that shuffle rhythm, it doesn't feel boring to me. Um,
That's amazing. 28 years playing, no boring, no every day is a different music, every day is a different challenge. That
yeah.
is so deep.
Oh, I learned so much. Um, from the way Mel played it, and then from the kind of the freedom he gave me when he said to me, "It sounds good. Play it the way you hear it." So he allowed me to grow into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hey, can I play something for you? I'm
oh,
sorry.
please,
It's maybe
please,
Brazilian, maybe bad Brazilian.
please. Not bad Brazilian, very good Brazilian.
Well, I don't know, but I saw a workshop with a pandero player,
Yeah.
Marcus Santos. You know
Ma-
him?
Marcos Santos.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was playing this combination of rhythms
Hmm.
that I try to layer them.
Okay.
And so, we have samba bass drum in the bass drum. We have a go-go in the right hand.
Yeah.
Then we have this rhythm in the hi-hat. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then with the
Woohoo.
right, and then the left hand plays. And
Man,
so
that
I don't know if I can put it all together right now in front of
is
you, but I try. Something like this. It's not working. One more
man.
time.
Man.
I don't know if this makes any sense or not.
Of course, makes a lot of sense, but it's hard to play that. That coordination is crazy. I need 2 years, maybe 2 years and a half to practice that and to try to play that. Because
No.
is a different patterns. That pattern that you did like came from maracatu,
Uh
but
huh.
that bass drum comes from the samba.
Right. So it's all mixed up.
Yeah, and that where's the pattern for the right hand, the left foot? It's hard. It's hard. It's hard.
And
It's
then the
almost
the left hand.
it's amazing. It's
I don't
beautiful.
know. And
It's beautiful.
I also practiced some maracatu that was inspired by you.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Mm,
But I also added the hi hat part that I heard in some maracatu, which
w-
is
yeah, yeah. It's a kind of pattern from gonge. Yeah, a very a huge cowbell.
hmm,
And you can have both. And it's hard to play together if you put the bass drum.
that's exactly what I practiced. Yeah.
Man, it's too much coordination for just one groove. It's challenging. I love that. I love that. But it is hard.
Yeah,
And
but I don't know if I ever played in music, but what we're looking for things that challenge our coordination and our
mm,
concentration.
yeah,
And that
yeah,
makes when you have that combination, that makes
yeah,
everything stronger.
yeah, yeah. And it's amazing that sometimes you take some coordination like that and spend 1 hour, 2 hours, and nothing happens around that. You are so focused and you are so concentrated that time flies and you are no problem, very okay, very. I don't know
That's
the
the
word.
feeling I want every day to get
Yeah,
so far in there.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's something that we are always looking for, and that is there. We don't need to looking for it so much too much. It's here. It's just open it for
Right,
that.
right.
Yeah.
And I find so many things on YouTube of,
Uh-huh.
you know, four African drummers playing a groove together and then trying to make a drum set version of that.
Yeah.
It's really inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Or some Arabic drummers, or some tabla players, or some Brazilian,
Yeah.
musicians. There's inspiration everywhere.
Yeah. Is the curiosity that you said first makes you every day, even these times of pandemics, time that you stay at home and a lot of different things happening, but you can focus that in something and spend a lot of moments and a whole life, not
Yeah.
just a moment, but a whole life.
Well, it's
Hey,
first
Joe.
first curiosity, and then hunger,
Yeah,
and then dedication.
yeah, yeah,
You can be
yeah.
curious. I'm curious about how to make sushi, but I'm
Yeah,
not curious enough to do it.
just curious, just
Just
curious. Just
curious.
just
Right.
tell me what do you do. Oh, is that the way? Oh, is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
yeah. That curious, hungry, and dedicated.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, John, we can spend all the day here, but we are running we're going to our finish here.
Okay.
And I want to say first for everybody, I'm sorry, guys. The talking was so interesting, so good that I couldn't read any. I couldn't read every comments here. Uh, we need to do one more to answer all the questions, but I have to say thank you for everybody that came here. Lewis Cornell, Rogério Bocato, Austin Jenkins, Robbie Walker, Eva Furron, Thomas Levis, Loban Servitoric, that is a difficult name here, Slobodan Svetkovic, I'm sorry for that, Michael J., Alicate Coalhada. Yeah. Rogério is saying that music that you told about the Hermetos Big Band, Alicate e Coalhada. Juan
Ah,
Magna Bucate, guys. Thank you for coming here, for being here, for talking with us. And John, I can say I can tell you how thankful I am to with you that you couldn't be here and talk with us a little. I just want to say thank you so much for being here and sharing your life, your 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 music with us. And one more time, thanks for this precious for all drummers. Thank you for that.
well, thank you, Edu. I've been admiring your musicianship and your
Oh,
teaching
oh,
for a
thank
long
you.
time, and it's a privilege to talk to you. And I'm so happy that we had a big audience, and hopefully someone got 5 seconds of something that they can grow from.
Oh man, thank you
Thank you.
so much. Thank you so much. Oh, my pleasure. I hope we can meet in person
I
very
look
soon.
forward to that.
And please stay safe and still stay healthy. And we have to say thank you for people from Open Studio, Rachel, Peter, Martin, and guys. Thank you for being here.
This worked
Oh,
perfect, man. Thank you. Thanks, Edu. Thanks,
thank you.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Clap your hands to John Riley. Tchau
Thanks a
pra
lot.
você.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye, bye, bye,
Bye bye.
bye, bye, bye.